Hello, this is Dana with Pink Lulu Design Studio. I have never made a video basically of any kind to give examples or tutorials or anything on how I do hair and makeup or how I would do it on someone else. But Allison and I have had a lot of requests from our team recently to teach people how to do their own hair and makeup for things. So I'm getting ready for Christmas pictures today with our family, and I thought maybe I would just document how I'm doing the look that I'm working on today. I actually am not 100% sure what I'm even going to do on myself. I just kind of had some products that I wanted to use that I haven't used before, and some products that I love that I use all the time. So usually when I go about doing something on myself, I just kind of see how it plays out and hope for the best. Whereas on a client, we usually have a game plan in the beginning. On myself, I just kind of like go with the flow. Sometimes you're feeling yourself on some days and sometimes you're not. So you kind of have to go with what works out. So I realize that the light is better when I'm facing this way for makeup, but in lieu of the fact that I'm not going to move like my entire vanity and everything over here, sorry, like we're just going to face this way. Additionally, we are getting our carpets changed, so maybe I'll move it this way if this ends up being like a thing I'm doing regularly, but right now we're just kind of testing it out and see how it goes. So before we start, I want to show you just some of the things we're going to use today. This is mostly hair stuff, things that I've always used, things that I really like. That Bumble and Bumble Visible Oil Primer is new and I really like it. I just started using it in the last week or so. And then here's just kind of like a gamut of things makeup-wise that I'm probably going to use today. If I throw anything else in there, I will post it and let you know. That Kate Somerville goat milk moisturizer and the depuffing eye balm is pretty much my jam right now. So if I were you, I would procure some of that. So all I've done so far is dried my hair, which this is like the natural frizzy puffy disaster that it merges into after I get dry. And what I have on my face is this Kate Somerville moisturizer, which I love. This depuffing eye cream. And this. It's SkinCeuticals. It's really awesome. It will hurt your feelings when you buy it because it's expensive. But it's really amazing, and honestly it's really changed my skin to be like a little bit more glowy and shiny compared to what it usually looks like. Honestly, my skin has reduced significantly in redness recently because I had IPL, and I was able to get rid of a lot of like the rosacea markings that I had on my cheeks and also some sun damage that I had as well. So we will get started here. I'm going to move some of these items back over here so I don't have to reach so far. So one of the things I was kind of thinking about doing today was like a deeper part to my natural, which, I mean, that's pretty close to my natural, but it's a little bit deeper than where I usually go. I think I'm going to go more volume on this side, super light on this side. So one of the things that I tell people when they're trying to get more volume, and maybe you have like finer hair or hair that just doesn't hold curl very well, one thing that you can do that's super helpful is you can either clip your little locks up in Velcro rollers as you go, or you can use like these little alligator clips to pin your curls back to kind of give them a second to cool in that position before you are ready to complete your look. So that's what I'm going to do today. Number one, because it creates like a nice like full curl, but number two, it's a good step to do before you put your makeup on, because then all of your hair is out of your face and you can just do your makeup, which is really nice. And then when your husband comes upstairs and is yelling at you because it's time to go and you're like not ready yet, you can be like, I'm pretty much ready, and then just pull your hair down out of these little clips, shake it out, and walk out the door. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to curl like some of these top pieces of my hair later. So I'm going to clip a good portion of my hair up. like so, and get it out of my face. Then I'm going to use Kenra. I use 13 as a working spray, just because it's like a good base to get like some grit on your hair to help hold curl throughout. And just kind of spray it down. Sometimes I'll use, I didn't have this out because I wasn't planning on using it, but sometimes I'll use like a volume spray. This is really good. Caroline at Sephora in Lexington recommended this for me. It's called Living Proof Full Volume Dry Spray. Or wait, Full Dry Volume Blast is what it's actually called. So you can spray that throughout your hair. I actually do it closer to my roots just because that's where I'm going to tease and that's where I want like the most volume to be. But for people who have like super fine hair, it might benefit you to actually spray it throughout your hair to kind of create some grit so that it will hold curl better and be a little bit fuller. So now we're just going to go about curling our hair all the way around. We're going to separate that layer again and just leave our top layer pinned up all the way on top. So on this layer, I'm going to go back through again and spray my Kenra 13. This one I'm also going to use Preta powder because I like this stuff a lot, and it's great for at the root, and you literally just like shoot it out and it kind of comes out crazy, and then you just blend it into your hair. This is great for blondes. Sometimes, here's what it looks like. Sometimes this can get like a little crazy for brunettes because it shoots out like seriously baby powder white. So unless you're planning on like really blending this into your hair really well, it's gonna make your hair like gray a little bit. So, or dull, maybe not gray, but dull for sure. So be careful, use sparingly, maybe put on your fingertips and blend it in instead of shooting it because you can control it better that way. If you're brunette. If you're blonde, you can just fire away. So on this middle layer, I'm gonna tease a little bit and get a little volume throughout my hair just because I want it to be really full before I curl. So now we're kind of moving on to our third layer here. Before I go to my third layer, I'm just gonna like spray throughout my curls. I'm not gonna shake them out yet because I want them to stay in the curl a little bit longer before I do that. But I want to get like a heavier hold hairspray on them, a 25, so that they can cool with that spray. So now on my top layer, this is where I'm gonna set the curls in these alligator clips. Sometimes I would set them all throughout, but I just like don't feel like doing that today, so I'm not. Also because I have a 10-month-old and she'll probably wake up here at some point during this tutorial and I'll have to go get her, and I just may not have enough time to set all of those curls. So here we go. On this layer, I'm going to go ahead and use my 25, a little bit stronger, but I'm going to spray that sparingly because I don't want it to be too sticky while I'm curling. Then I'm going to shoot some Preta powder in here. If you don't use Preta powder or you don't have that, you can always use any kind of dry shampoo. My hair is clean. I washed it today, obviously, because I had just dried it when we started. But dry shampoo helps create a lot of grit and coarseness to your hair so that it holds curl and styling better. So even if your hair is clean, like, girl, go ahead and throw that in there. So now we're just going to work on these little curls. So this first one, we're going to take out and set in one of these little alligator clips. So I'm going to release that and kind of hold the curl on top of my noggin. And if you were using Velcro rollers, you would literally just stretch this curl out and roll the Velcro roller all the way down. I'll do a different tutorial on Velcro rollers another day because that's kind of a whole beast in itself. Honestly, they're awesome and they're super easy to use, but you kind of have to be going for like a specific look for that kind of curl. Same thing again, we're going to spray that up, tease down, and then shoot a little Preta powder in there. Ooh. And now we're gonna curl. So right now I'm just curling everything back away from my face. And a lot of times when I do this, I'll end up not liking the way that the curls lay on this side of my head because I tend to curl with my right hand because I'm right-handed. So a lot of times when I do this, I'll end up going back at the end and recurling some of the pieces on this side just to match the directional flow that I want them to be in, because otherwise they end up like looking kind of wonky. And I just pulled that little iron out, and I'm going to clip that little alligator clippy back right in there. So like I was saying before, I'm kind of wanting to do like a bigger front sweep that's like away from the face, and probably a lot of this like pulled back, maybe even like almost flat like a vintage. So keeping that in mind, I'm still going to curl like this whole section straight back, but I want it to be pretty voluminous. So I'm going to really powder and tease this section a lot. I'm going to Preta powder. And see how that's like even kind of coming through in the front, like powder from the Preta powder? It's like pretty gritty, right? Tease that whole. Brush that back out a little so it's not so frizzy. And we're going to take our wand and curl. So this one I'm going to angle a little bit to the side because I kind of want that to be the direction that it's going towards, is side and back. So I kind of want it to cool in that position. And we'll take that curl and we will clip him down. We're going to let everything just hang and cool in this position. We're going to give it a good spritz over the top with some 25. Might even come down here and spray a little bit more 25 in this region. And for now, we're going to just let our hair sit and cool in this position while we do makeup. Okay, so sometimes depending on how I feel, I will cover my whole face in foundation and then do my makeup over that, even though I tell all of my clients not to do that because it would be easier for you to do your eye makeup first, then wipe away all the residue underneath so that you don't have any fallout under your eyes. Sometimes I do that. I almost always do that if I'm doing something, important, because I don't want to have fallout on my under eye. But when I'm being lazy, which is like probably 90% of the time when I'm getting myself ready, I will cover my whole face in foundation and then do my makeup. I won't do that today because I want to give you like a realistic look of, not having to clean up under eye fallout and everything. But I will say I am going to put a little bit of my foundation onto my eyelid because I like to use that as a base. Typically I'll use like a concealer that's a shade lighter, but I want to show you how to use things that you might already have in your repertoire that still work well without having to go out and buy a ton of stuff that maybe is expensive but you don't have to have. So as long as you have a good base color for your foundation, which typically I go pretty light on foundation because I can always warm it up with other things like bronzer. So I'm going to go in and just cover my lid with that foundation. And you'll see this brush again because I'm going to use it to add some sparkles because it's holiday. So girl, you got to put some sparkles on. And I actually did go ahead and take it up like over my brows. I'm going to zoom in on my brows here really fast. Like you can't even see them. That's how terrible they are. That is what overplucking will do to your life. So please, if that ever becomes a trend again to have like super thin eyebrows, like don't commit yourself to that forever because then when like cool thick eyebrows come back, you're going to be on the losing end of that battle forever. Because I literally have to draw my eyebrows in. You will see in a minute, like, I mean serious, like very seriously. And it sucks. Because sometimes I forget, like on days when I'm not wearing makeup, or I do a look today that I don't typically do on myself because I usually like more of like kind of an ombre look where it's light on the inside and then it darkens as it goes out into your corner and your crease. That's like my staple look for what I usually like on myself. But since it's Christmas pictures and it's holly and jolly, I figure I can get away with doing something a little bit out of my normal. So I'm going to use like a darker, like kind of plummy color and actually make that like kind of my feature color on my eye. I'm going to do some of the normal things that I do, which is like create a little bit of light and shade in my inner corner and up by my brow. But I'm going to do that like kind of sparingly because I'm going to use this all over my whole eye. And then we're going to use this. It's a glitter and I'm real excited about it. So this I'm using right here is one of my favorite things. It's kind of a go-to for like all like quick fun makeup colors, and it has like a full gamut of things. It's the Becca Jaclyn Hill palette. You probably can't really get these anymore, but I'm sure she'll come out with another one. It's pretty awesome. It has great colors in it. I love using it. I'm going to use this one right here, and that is Chardonnay. I'm going to go in on my little inner corners right here where I've already like based with foundation with that. And I'm going to take it up across my eye. Oh, the dogs are going somewhere. And I'm going to create like a pretty little highlight at the top there. And I'm going to do the same thing in this corner. A little base in the corner and up right under the eyebrow that you can't see. Which reminds me, you really can't even see my eyebrow, so this is probably hard for you to like even figure out what I'm doing. So maybe I'll draw my eyebrow on real fast. So for me, eyebrows, I'm using Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Definer, and I really like it. The one I'm using is soft brown, just because I like a little bit more color than what the blonde was offering, even though that's probably a closer color to my actual hair color. So I'm going to go in, and the first thing I do is draw the inside shape of my eyebrow. And you try to line that up right here where your eye would be, the inner corner of your eye. And then I'm going to outline the shape of my brow that I want. So I'm going to start on the underside and take it up and over. And I follow like, even though you can hardly see my eyebrows, I follow like the natural shape of my eyebrow that would be there if you could see it. But it's just like either growing in gray or blonde or not at all. Now I'm going to do the top portion and fill that in on the inside. And as I fill in, I just kind of move up and out in the direction of the hair. For most people that I do makeup on, I don't have to do this much work to get their brow to show up in a picture for their wedding day, but most people don't have like stupid eyebrows like I have. So now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And right now that looks crazy. That looks like super dark, but it won't in a minute. So now just following the same as then. These have like this little cute brush on the end of them, which is great. I usually like brush that out a little bit and just kind of blend it so that it's not so aggressive and strong. I don't like my eyebrows to look so crazy. And right now they look a little crazy because I have no other makeup on. But as we go about putting makeup on, they will calm down. All right, so now that we've fixed the brows so you can actually see what's going on the rest of my face, we'll go back to this lighter shade of Chardonnay and continue filling in. Another color that I'm going to use out of here is Champagne Toast. It's a little bit bronzy, but still shimmery. And I'm going to kind of create a nice little base on my eye with that overall. So it's a little bit like shimmery, but bronzy. And just kind of patting it in and blending it up. Yay. Same thing other side. So now we're gonna pat on, this is a MAC color called Modern Majesty. It's a pressed pigment. This is old. I don't know where it came from, and I found it in my makeup closet. So we're gonna pat this in all over my lid. That's pretty. Huh. Kind of like the color of that. So I'm literally just using this color and building it on top of itself all over the base of my lid and not really taking it up past that. And you can see like it's still kind of light in my inner corner. Same thing on the other side. The other thing about doing your eye makeup first and not having foundation on is that like I can be kind of like willy-nilly like out here, and I can clean it up at the end because I know I'm not going to have to like worry about my foundation getting messed up because I was trying to blend something and like overstretched the shadow to like past a point where I didn't want it to be. So that's another advantage. It gives you more control to like clean things up and be a little bit more bold and kind of willy-nilly with your blending, just so you can get the color that you want. This is just a baby wipe because I have a surplus of these. I just wipe that color off my brush because I use this brush a lot. I like it a lot. It's a Morphe E22. I'm pretty sure I got it on the Live Glam monthly subscription. So if you're a person who likes to get new brushes, receive new brushes, experiment with new brushes, the Live Glam monthly brush promo is awesome and you should totally do that. This is also out of that Jaclyn Hill palette. This one is called Bordeaux. It's like kind of a darker brown. So I'm going to use that and line my eye basically where I'm going to take my eyeliner here in a second. Just because I like more of a blended look with eyeliner. I don't really, on myself, like just kind of a straight black line of liner. I think it's like a little aggressive for my eye. Some people really like that. It's not for me. So I line my eye with powder first, and then when I do liner on top, it just makes it a little bit more like natural transition, and you can kind of see that there. Same thing on the other side. And a lot of times I do like winged eyeliner on myself just because I have also like pretty wonky eyelashes in addition to my eyebrow situation. And so when I do the winged liner, sometimes I feel like it helps to make my lashes look a little bit fuller on the ends. My eyelashes are also like super light and blonde, so they're really hard to see. So I probably look like I don't have any when you're watching this. So now I've done my little shadow. Here. And now I'm going to do my liner. I change eyeliner and I change foundation and I change mascara pretty much every single time I buy it. Not because I don't like the things that I'm using, I just get bored of them. So right now I'm using Sephora brand Color Full Wink It Felt Liner. Waterproof. I do my liner in two phases. Usually I start on the outside, bring it to the center of my eye, and then go from the inside and bring it out. It is almost impossible to draw a perfect line of eyeliner in one sweep. So for most people, it's an easier thing to do if you go either outside in halfway or inside out halfway and then do the reverse so you can meet in the middle. Another reason I like felt tip liners is because it kind of gives you a starting point there and it's already angled. So it helps you to learn how to do the winged eyeliner without having to draw it on with a brush. And then when you start getting good at it, then you can draw it on. So now I'm going to go from the inside corner and bring that out to match. Ta-da! And now we'll do the same thing on this side. I've never used this like MAC pigmented stuff before. It's like soups messy, so just be aware. I'm also going to use a little spritz of makeup setting spray in it to kind of dampen it a little bit so that I can get it to stick the way that I want. I'm not actually going to spray it on there. I'm just going to spray. This is the little brush that I used earlier when I was putting my foundation on my lid. And I'm going to spray that on there and get a little moisture on it so that it has something to adhere to. And I'm going to dip that in there, and then I'm going to apply it like kind of across the center here of my eye. Well, that's kind of pretty. Okay, let's go back to this pressed pigment. And go over this on the outsides a little and just see how that changes the color. That's the thing about makeup. See, I already like that better. That's the other thing about makeup. People are so afraid that they're going to mess something up, but if you mess something up, just like cover what you don't like or wipe it off and start over. That's why makeup is fun, because you have so many options of things to do and change and try. Don't be intimidated to try something, and if it doesn't work out, try something else. I already like that better, where it's like a little heavier on the outside but still shimmery, and then the shimmer kind of comes through on the inside. Much better. So you're going to take your little lashy, beep, hello Elizabeth, and then you're going to apply your little lash glue on the edge. Usually on clients I'll use like a black glue just because it dries black with the liner. On myself, sometimes I will, but today I'm just using like clear glue because that's what I had. And we're just going to place that little lash right above your lash line and try to connect it. I always connect mine first on the outside, and then I try to connect it onto the inside. And then I'll just try to let it dry and keep pressing it against my lash line a little bit. I'm ready to clean up my under eye before I do my foundation. And I'm just going to wipe everything from underneath that has dropped on my lower lid. Look at all that. That would all be sitting in my foundation and making a weird shadow. That would be unfortunate. Okay, foundation. Right now I'm using Makeup Forever Professional Ultra HD in this little stick, and it is awesome. I really like the coverage. I do set it with powder, and I feel like it works really well for me. I like foundation that is more full coverage, like I said before, because I like some natural redness to my skin and freckling, so I like to cover as much of that as possible. And I draw mine on even though Caroline at Sephora told me I needed to use a brush. I will use a brush, but I like to draw it on first. Brushes make a big difference in your makeup application, and sometimes I use different brushes. I just found this one like randomly at Marshall's, and I ended up really liking it because I haven't ordered any of this particular shape brush like professionally, so that might be something I'll add to my list to maybe try a different brand. I have several foundation brushes that are Morphe or Sigma that I really like, and there's lots of good options out there. You don't have to spend a fortune on your foundation brushes or on any brushes really to find ones that are good. You just have to find ones that work for your skin type and also for like the foundation that you're using. Yay. I wasn't planning on wearing a lot of concealer before, but now in looking at my face, I've decided I would like to. Okay, this is a Coastal Scents Camouflage palette. I've had this for forever, and I really like it. I haven't used it in a long time. But, you know, just for shits and giggles, let's use it today. So I'm taking like a lighter color up over my little brows and filling that in where I couldn't get in close with my foundation brush, and bringing it down around my brows on each side. And I'm going to take that same color and take it down the center of my nosy. Right onto the top of my lip. Down here on my little chinny chin chin. Don't worry, my child is just down here playing with a plastic hanger because I'm mom of the year right now. We're gonna go in right under our eyesies, right here, and blend that out across the cheek. I'm just gonna take that up just a little bit, to add a little lift to my eyeball with a little bit of that highlight. See that, how that's going up right there? And this is another good time to like clean up your shadow and stuff and make sure you have like the line that you want, because you can always blend that out later. Okay, so I just finished doing concealer under both eyes. Now we're gonna set powder underneath our eyes and on our face. So I'm using this Ben Nye banana powder. I really like it because it has kind of like a yellow finish to it, and where I have a lot of redness, I feel like it looks good on my skin. I also mix it with a NYX mineral powder. Set it, don't fret it. And go across my forehead. Really bounce it under my eyes instead of wiping it. Sometimes people wipe it and it's going to move any makeup that's under your eye that's still damp. And anywhere that you might tend to crease a lot, or anywhere that I have like a lot of makeup where I like added concealer. This is my favorite part of getting ready, is the bronzer, blush, and highlight phase. So right now I'm using a Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer. I always start in my hairline and bring it down. Same thing other side. Yeah. And then I take a little bit under my chin because I have like this really fatty, weird under chin area that's super unfortunate. And so I like to give a little bit more structure to my jawline so that it's not so prevalent. And I take it back as well. And I'm going to touch on the top of my head where you might naturally have a little bit of bronze from the sun. And bring that down so it's blended. Great. Another Jaclyn Hill fave. This is a great kit. I cracked mine, so I'm real sad about that. I'm going to use a little blushy out of here. I'm using Pamplemousse. Little Pamplemousse onto the apple of my cheek. And okay, I love this highlighting brush. It's a Morphe as well. It's an M501. This was not part of Glam. I ordered this one, and it's great. And we're going to put what's left of my broken champagne pop on it. And take it up onto my cheek. I love highlighter, and I don't care for any of you people out there who are like, ew, she puts on too much highlighter. You don't have to put on that much if you don't want to. This is just how much I like to wear. And take it across my forehead, because like I said, why not be glowy? A little bit down there on the nose. Yeah, so I'm going to go back to that same little brush that I used when I cut in above my eyelid to make a shadow line. I don't usually ever use liquid or cream liner on my under eye. I always use a shadow. And I'm going to go back to this little Jaclyn Hill, and I'm going to use Cordial. It's kind of lighter, but it's still like in the same tone that I was already using. And I'm just going to line my lower eye with that and kind of blow it out a little bit, just so it gives it a little bit of color. And then I'm going to put mascara on. Like I said, I purchase different mascaras every time I get a new one. And right now I'm using Lashcraft. It's a Sephora brand. I like it a lot. I don't like it as much as the Dior Show Iconic Overcurl that I used the last time I bought mascara. So if you're going to try a new mascara, I would recommend the Dior Show Overcurl. I mean, this one's cool for $12. So there's that. And I always do my falsies as well as my low lid. I think I'm actually going to leave it matte instead of putting a gloss on it because I kind of like the matte finish that it has. I am going to touch up my brows just a little bit because they look a little soft around the edges for me. Remember at the beginning of this when I was like, whoa, those brows look aggressive. They look normal now. Yay. All right, so our last little step here, remember all that long while ago when we did hair? Well, now we're going to pull our little pin curls down. Now, if I had done this all over my head instead of just on the top, all of my hair would be as full. Look how full that is, those pieces on the back. All of my hair would be that full. But I wasn't going for that kind of curl. So now we're going to take this up. So here's what I was kind of thinking. I want a deeper part, so we're going to go right there. Take that part over a little bit further. Separate those curls. This I'm going to kind of leave like basically how it is. See how that's kind of falling like already very full? That's like what the pin curls do when you start them out with all of that spray and the dry shampoo. So I'm kind of going to position that where I want it and give it a spritz here with kind of my working spray just to get everything going where I want it to be. And then once I get it exactly where I want it, hit it with the heavy stuff. On this side, I actually kind of like how that little curl's falling. Remember I told you I usually like will recurl this area just if the curls are kind of wonky from curling them all straight back. It's actually falling okay, so I'm not going to worry about that. So I'm going to take this little piece that's like my non-giant sweep side and give it a couple little twists. I'm actually going to go ahead and use one of my little alligator clips and move my poof back a little bit so I have a good range to pin in. I might even give it a little bit more like volume in the front there and then spray it so it goes where we want. And then I'm going to take it back and give it a little twist. And I'm going to find that little spot that's like back here behind where I just pinned up the alligator clip. I also open bobby pins with my teeth, which is a horrible habit. Don't do that either. And just pin right into that curl. Right into that little twist so it kind of stays back but is also hidden. Now I'm going to take my poof down and let it just fall over top. And give it a good spray. Alrighty, so there you have it. That is the tutorial. I'm going to turn this way so that you can see everything in the natural light. That's real bright. Let's stand over here. Yeah. Hopefully that will be good for pictures. Thank you all for maybe watching. I don't know if you did. I don't know if you liked it. I hope you did. I hope you learned something. I hope it was helpful. If it's not, you can leave me comments of things that you would like to learn about or like to see next time. I don't really know where I'm going to go from here, but if you guys direct me as to what you would like to learn, then that would be super helpful. Merry Christmas.